Remember, the 5th of November. Hey Food Geeks, thanks for joining me for another recipe. This week's comes courtesy of my dad, who used to make this for me every November 5th. We're making Treacle Toffee, or Bonfire Toffee, as it's known in some places. He made this every year for me as a kid. It's very sweet, it's hard as a brick, which probably explains how the English dental system is, but that's a side note. And only has 4 ingredients. Treacle, obviously. Brown sugar, sweetened butter, and a can of condensed milk. And it couldn't be easier. Here's how you make it. 300 grams of butter, salted, 200 grams of treacle, 425 grams of dark brown sugar, and a can, which is 397 grams of condensed milk. Stick it all in a pan, turn it on a medium heat, and let it melt. Try not to stir it too much though. Now, while that is coming to a boil, we need to be ready. So I've lined a baking sheet or a cookie sheet with some parchment paper. It's very important because this stuff is really sticky and you need to be ready to go. The other tool you'll need is either a candy thermometer or, in my case, one of the instant read thermometers. Because we need to get this, once it's dissolved, to 130 degrees. I can smell the treacle and the brown sugar all mixing together, making that caramelly aroma. Oh my gosh, it smells so good even now and it's nowhere near ready. The other thing I strongly recommend is taking your baking sheet, that you've lined, and putting that next to the pan. Mainly because you're going to need it very quickly once the mixture is ready to go. Again, I can still feel granules of brown sugar, so I'm going to give that a little bit longer before I turn the heat up. But at this point, I think all the butter's melted, so I'm going to let that just come to temperature. Now, it feels like all the brown sugar has dissolved, so I'm going to let this boil and come to 130 degrees centigrade. And if you hear a clicking in the background, it's not me eating my first batch. It's my dog chewing his bone. So we're about 90 degrees right now. Not sure if it's 94. I'm not sure if you can pick that up on the 93. I'm not sure if you can pick that up on the camera, but hopefully you can. There we go. We just let that boil now. And we are going to be stirring this pretty consistently now so that it doesn't stick. Probably should have used a bigger spatula. I think my dad used to just do this by experience because I never saw him with a candy thermometer or any kind of thermometer, honestly. For any of you who are old like me, this smell is so familiar. It came from our kitchens every year at bonfire time. I will say, if you can get somebody to do the stirring for you, I highly recommend it. A small child probably, because there's nothing unsafe about this. That's a joke. Please don't have a child do it, because they will burn themselves. All right, I did a little switchy on the camera. We're up to about 115. It's getting there slowly. 120, 122. You're almost there. Okay, we finally reached temperature. It's time to pour, which is why I moved the camera. And just pour your lovely treacle toffee all over the baking sheet. Doesn't have to fill it. There we go. Level it out. And now we leave it for about 10 minutes before we put it in the fridge, just to cool down a tad. See, I told you this was an easy recipe. Literally just going to let this cool down, throw it in the fridge, and then after all this time, we'll come back and we'll show you the final result. And then we pop it in the fridge for about an hour. Be right back.
1 hour later.
How quickly an hour passes. It's been in here for about an hour, and we're good to go. Taking it out now just because it's almost set, but not quite. And what I'd like to do, you can wait till it goes rock hard and smash it with a hammer, but I'm going to try, and I've never done this before, cutting this into squares. And there you have it. Now, It's still a little on the sticky side, but I can feel in the middle where it's cooler. It's actually a lot harder. So I'm going to put the rest of this back in the fridge for about another hour. But in the meantime, I'm going to have a little tasty. Well, there you go, Geek Nuggets. Treacle Toffee. I will highly recommend cutting it before it's solid. Listen to this. But look how perfect those squares are. If you want to stay traditional, you certainly can. And break it up with a hammer. But I'll tell you now, cutting that was a dream. Or breaking it was a dream, I should say. Cutting it was easy. But let's try and see how this goes. They're so freaking good. It's not as hard as you remember, because my dad's recipe wasn't. But the flavor is fantastic. It just brings back so many memories for me. That is wonderful. So, if you try and make this, please let me know in the comment section below how it turned out. I think it's so darn good, honestly. In fact, hold on a minute. I'm in a bit more. Well, I will in a minute. Yeah, please let us know in the comment section below. If this is your first time here, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe for more fun recipes. Also, please give the video a thumbs up. It really helps the algorithm and helps me. Thank you very much. Till next time when we cook something else, happy bonfire night, happy Guy Fawkes night, whatever you want to call it. And until next time, take care, food geeks. I'll see you next time.